Well, ladies and gentlemen in the chat, I'd like to welcome in European light-heavyweight title challenger in just under now 2 weeks' time, Shakan Pitters. Shakan, first of all, thank you for joining us. And how is everything?
All good, thank you, man. Pleasure for having me here. All good.
Very
Typical
good to hear.
training, catching on a bit of the rays, as you can see.
Absolutely. Just under 2 weeks to go now until you finally challenge for the light-heavyweight title, European light-heavyweight title, should I say. It's been a long time coming, this, for yourself, hasn't it? Are you just excited now that Fight Week is just around the corner and you're nearly there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, I've been in these camps, I've been in these positions before. It's boxing, it's the sport we choose sometimes. Things take a little bit more of a time, but it's always good when Fight Week's approaching. You just pray that all's well. Obviously on my side, of course, first and foremost, which it is, and all's well on that side as well, that, there's not going to be any issues, so yeah, all's good. I like the whole Fight Week when it's approaching.
Obviously, it was very close to falling out of picture. Again, the fight was originally set to take place in Galway, now in Hull. When you first got the message from Izzy in the call that the fight wasn't going to be taking place in Galway anymore, was there any doubts that you might not be fighting for the European title, or did they reassure you straight away that you would still be fighting that day?
Well, you just never know with boxing. We get promised certain things, and this isn't from Izzy or anything. It's just, I think, dealing with the EBU sanction, it's out of British sort of hands. It's not like the British title. So, obviously there was that question, but when I got reassured that obviously, I've still got the mandatory position, it was always a good light, and it felt good to obviously still have that position. It was no fault of my own and no fault of my opponent neither at the time. It was just obviously, these things happen in training, and we've got our house prominent, so we've got to obviously make sure that, first with everything, we're good with that health wise. So that's what I've done, and obviously on certain decisions it never happened, but yeah, I'm here now and I'm good. I'm fit. I'm well. I'm ready.
And Brad Rea, the man in the opposite corner to you, obviously originally set to be Daniel Dos Santos, but he's now been stripped of the title. So you and Brad Rea will clash together. Are you excited? What do you make of Brad Rea as an opponent, first of all? What do you know about him?
Decent record from Manchester. A good fighter. He's obviously had some hard luck in his career, like a lot of people do at times. Good fighter, and these are the fights. Obviously, he seems like he's excited to be in good fights, whatnot. I'm excited to be in good fights, and it makes it good for obviously to be the belt on the line. So, he's gonna come, but I'm also gonna come. Not in any that way, pause, as they say, but we're both gonna, obviously, he's gonna bring it, but I know what I gotta do, and I'll obviously, I always bring it in all my fights, man, it's gonna be a good fight. I look forward to it. He seems like a good person. I ain't got nothing bad to say about him. I respect the fact that, he's up for challenges, he steps in, he takes the opportunities and things like that, but yeah, it's one of those, isn't it? We settle our differences in the ring. Not that there's any animosity, but it's the fight game at the end of the day. He's trying to take something I want, and everything like that. So, yeah, man, I've just got to go and do the business.
What do you think the big separating factor is between yourself and Brad? Obviously, fairly similar records, but do you think it's your experience, maybe?
Obviously, on paper, I'm definitely more experienced. I think this is first 12 rounder, but not to take that aside. I once had my first 12 rounder and once had my first 10 rounder, and that I got through that as a breeze. So doesn't mean that. But I'm just like, yeah, I think obviously I'm more experienced. I've been in these, I've headline shows. I've been on the big shows, British shows, and things like that. So yeah, I think obviously I'm more experienced. They think I'm obviously older. I'm fresh. Like I'm a young 30 plus years old. I'm very fresh, but I don't really, again, like I said, I don't look at any telling differences or factors. I just know that, whatever it is, I'll find the openings myself, or I'll see the mistakes and I'll take them. And yeah, I look for my own telling factors what will separate us on the night.
And obviously, headlining on the zone as well. It's a big opportunity. Obviously, already a great slot on that Galway show, but to be bumped up to main event, does that add a little bit more extra pressure in your mind?
Not for me. I love it, man. I love the fact, like I said, it's not my first rodeo, as I say. I've headlined a couple of shows now in my career. Um, so I don't know whether it's his first or whatnot. I don't know, but it don't matter. At the end of the day, you got to fight. And I'm just ready to fight. I love it. I love the whole, everything about the whole fight game. I love it. It's my comfort zone in there. I really enjoy what I do. So yeah, it's good. It's good to obviously headline again another show, another bout, and yeah, it just makes it sweeter. Obviously getting the win, and you know another show ticked off, headlined another bout.
Absolutely. Eamon, I believe you have a few questions for Shakan.
Absolutely good to see it, Shaq. And you wouldn't have thought that the
Good
sun
to
would
see
shine
you.
in Birmingham, would you?
Don't disrespect Birmingham, man. Birmingham got all the sun down here, man.
We get none of the sun, and even in the sun, it don't look that great either. But no, it's good
You know,
to
I'm in a
see it.
nice little shaded area. I'm trying to preserve my tan for when the TV lights are on me on the main event. I don't want to be, I want to be the right complexion.
Absolutely. Look, this opportunity it
Mm.
feels like it slipped through your fingers a couple of times. Do you, in the back of your mind, hold a little bit of doubt that it might not happen? Do you have to put that aside?
Doubt and whatever not in boxing, I don't control the business end in the sense of whether the promoters get it over the line, whether the EBU wanna, whatever sanction bodies they want to deal with. All I know what I can do is control my training and the fight, and how I fight. And I don't get in all the political. I know the game in that sense. Like, I'm not stupid. Like, I know my ins and outs and what I need to know. But I'm I focus on the training, the fight side of things. That's hard enough, man. We're putting our body through countless days of training. So that's more than enough for me to focus on. If the fight was to fall through, as they have in the past, not this one, but as we've all had fights fall through. It's out of our control, It's only like with the Galway show, for example. I sympathise with the fans, who's obviously took their time off work, spent their hard-earned money on tickets, booked hotels, booked rental cars, booked so much things, and it's hard to look at them and tell them that, sorry, you've lost out on this and you lost out on that, and when this happens, although they know it ain't the boxer's fault, we feel bad for them because it's like their credibility or trust in us in a way of our fight getting over the bridge. They sometimes will think, well, I'll wait till last minute to see if it's going to happen,
Mm.
so that's the crap part. But it is hard when, your loved ones and your family and your friends are losing money on it. But yeah, apart from that side, we've got no control on it. We've just got control on the fight and how we present ourselves on the day.
What's John's read on Brad? And speaking to you, but just off camera a little bit when you were at shows about this fight, of course, supremely confident about getting the victory. But if you were to say one thing that Brad does better than you, what would be that thing that you'd pick?
I don't believe anyone like who I'm up against. I don't put in my head that this person does anything better than me. I think I've got a lot of style, flair in the ring, everything. Like I said, I respect him as a fighter. That's enough for me. I'm not here to sing his praises. You know what I mean? I'm here to know what I've got to do, and I've take full confidence in the training and the preparation I've had. I always do that going into any fight, any opponent, because I know how hard I train. I know what I put my body through. So I believe that whoever I'm against, I will beat them. And that's just testimony to how I train and my focus on my training. He's a good fighter. He's got a good record. Um, yeah, he's a good fighter. I don't know until I get in the ring what kind of fight it'd be like. You know, I know what I gotta do, but I don't know to rate him what I feel like he does good or what he does bad. To be honest.
That European title, what it does if you capture it like you plan to do, is it puts you in the rankings for all the organizations, get you that opportunity and gets you that title as a bit of a bargaining chip too. How far off do you feel you are from a world title shot should you capture the European?
Yeah, I believe them things are close. You know, I'm at a stage in my career when I want to be pushing forward. I don't want to just stay on the domestic scenes. You know, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty of good fights there. You know, and obviously if it all makes sense, then of course I'll grab them with both hands as well. But again, I've got Brad Rea in front of me, who's a young, hungry fighter himself. He's gonna, you know, he's had opportunities. I don't know how frustrating it is where they don't present themselves. So I don't know how many fights have fell through for him. But obviously he's gonna try and bring the heat and things like that. So I'm more than confident I'll match and do more and bring the heat as well. But like I said, I feel I'm close there, but we gotta get the job done. Obviously June 28th.
Before we brought you in, I was just introducing the topic of conversation surrounding Turkey or shaking his want for not to see any more of these Tom and Jerry type of fights. Now, you're never that type of fighter who's avoiding action, and if we're using the analogy of Tom and Jerry, you're Tom the cat looking to get that knockout. But do you as a fighter, when you digest those statements, do you think, right, okay, there's opportunities for me to get on big cards, big opportunities, and big paydays? If I push and get a big knockout, I can knock on the door to say I deserve an opportunity. Is that in your mind?
Whether without that or not, obviously doing business with Turkey Al Sheikh is always will put a smile on any fighter's face. On any fighter's face, sorry. Um, Obviously for me, it's just like in the ring. In the ring, it's a different vibe. You know, you're thinking about who's in front of you. And when that person's in front of you, you weren't thinking about money. You're thinking about your health. Thinking about landing before this guy could land on me. So if the opportunity presents itself, you know, I don't go looking for these things. I think early on in my fights, starting off, you go looking for these things, they never come. And most of your knockouts come when you're not even looking for them, you know, like. But if the opportunity, like I said, it presents itself or I see the openings, then I take it. And I just feel like that's the stage where I'm at in my career. You know, I'm more seasoned, I'm more experienced and knowledgeable in myself and boxing to know when to step it up the levels, when to do certain things, and I feel I'm at that stage now, and it's crazy because now I look back and I'm like, "God, everything never clicks straight away, but it all makes sense now as you're going forward." You know, in the pro game and things, but yeah, they like look, I've made it, I've made it clear in the past. Like obviously, I'll be open for those kind of things. You know, fighting abroad, Saudi, whatnot. Who wouldn't? So that would definitely be something, you know, I get the job done. And when I get that done, then, you know, Izzy and the team knows my intentions with that. We could obviously get whether it's a fight would be, you know, with a top world level fighter or, you know, a domestic fighter who's up there as well. And we could get it on like over there, you know, or even over here on any of the Riyadh cards.
You said about there's a lot of good fights to be made domestically. There's one that's been rumored, and that's Anthony Yarde and Callum Smith. Who would you favour in that one if that does get made?
I was impressed with Callum Smith's last performance. But again, generally, not even just saying this, but it's one of them. We've seen Callum Smith shy away when he's got, but you know, someone like a better beard in front of his face. But Yarde a better beard, obviously, as well as Yard's kind of looked a bit the same, like with certain fights. Like he's always gone for it, but he's, you know, sometimes had his performances where you probably look and think, oh, you know, he could do more, whatnot. But Um, I genuinely wouldn't know in that one man who'd win. Genuinely, they're both good fighters though.
No worries, Shakan. It's good to see. I'm going to pass you back to Josh, who's got a couple more questions before you
Good to
get
see you
back
as well,
to
man.
your training in the tan. Josh, go ahead.
Shakan, here on Seconds Out Live, we run a poll every week when we do our live, and this week the question is: will Anthony Joshua win another world title? Do you believe he will, or do you believe he won't win another world title?
Who's up there now? You've got Daniel Dubois, Usyk. Uh, you know, he's still in the mix, man, but it's like he's having a bit too much time out the ring right now. I know he's trying to probably catch up on life what he's missed, because boxing is hard, man, when you're missing out on special family things. You know, we're all living this life one take, as I say. So you have to make time for family and catching up and doing certain things. But I believe he had an injury or something like that. Possibly, I believe he can, but it all depends how he comes back. We need to see how he's like obviously with the layoff out the ring and how he is since he's had his injury, and how he is there. Like I like Anthony Joshua. I hope he does well. He's done a lot for the British boxing, and he's gave a lot of big opportunities for a lot of fighters, and things like that. So yeah, I'd like him to. I'd like it to. I hope he does. I hope he does, but it all depends on the kind of fighter he is. You know, I don't think anyone should judge a fighter from any loss. You know, like he lost to Daniel Dubois, who got caught with a good shot. Daniel Dubois is a decent fighter. Everyone was saying he should retire and he's crap and all this when he lost to Joe Joyce, and everyone was saying Joe Joyce the next one to beat Wilder, and look how quick the tables they've all turned around. So he's good as he last fight, really. But yeah, hopefully he comes back and he does some more good justice to British boxing.
And then just want a couple more from me. Can I get a prediction for yourself versus Brad Rea? How do you see yourself getting on?
How do you see me winner? How do you
I,
see me
I,
winner?
I don't think I'm allowed to give my verdict on that as a reporter. I've got to remain neutral down the middle.
I remain neutral. You tell me off cam now when you're playing. Look, I prepared for 12 hard rounds. What not? I prepared for 12 hard rounds. So how it ends, how it's gonna end. Whether it's decision, whether it's knockout, I prepared for 12 hard rounds.
Absolutely.
Even more if I have to, because I got it in me.
Fair enough. Just one thing from the chat, not a question, but Shakan sounds like Lyndon Arthur. Brum accent question mark. Pardon my American ignorance from Thunder Road.
I sound like Lyndon Arthur. Listen, Lyndon Arthur stutters about 50 million times before he says a word, and I like Lyndon. It's cool. Don't say I sound like him. That's a
There's about
violation.
100 miles or so separating that, but you'd have thought
Yeah,
Peaky
that Lyndon's
Blinders put
cool.
us on the map, but
Lyndon's
apparently
cool,
not in
man.
America.
Huh? Yeah, in America they think that all in the UK is same, but I guess you know what? In certain states in America, my knowledge possibly would be. Well, I've got family out there. All my family's in like Florida, but um, my knowledge of certain states will have to Google to see how far it is and things. But Manchester ain't that far from Birmingham, so it's all good, man. We're all one city down here.
When you went out to America, did they pick up on your accent?
Yeah, all the time, man. But they only know one place. They wouldn't say, "Oh, you from Birmingham?" They're like, "Oh, you from London?" And then it gets to a point you're like, "Yeah, I'm from London." Like you don't say anything anymore, and then straight away it's just like, "Oh, you met the Queen, you met the King, you've been to
No way.
Buckingham Palace." Honestly, that's a lot of their knowledge. So I say I'm from Birmingham, they wouldn't know what to say of any good place down here in Birmingham. You know, they're just generally just like, oh, if you say London, automatically it's like, oh, have you met the Queen? Have you been to what is it called, Buckingham Palace? Have you this? I'm like, yes, 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 and yeah, they're a bit gullible, man. The Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Well, Shakan, really appreciate you joining us today. It's been really good to talk. And we wish you the best of luck for just under 2 weeks' time, June 28th in Hull, live on the Zone, your challenge for the European light heavyweight title. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you both. Thank you both. You have a good day. Enjoy the sun.
Appreciate it, Shaq.
You too, Shakan. Oh, I think I'll be there. I will see you there, Shakan. Best of luck, my friend.
Good man. Shaq, put it on you. What are your prediction? You didn't give it to him, Josh.
Unfortunately, as a reporter, we have to stay nice and.
He's still here. He wants it.
He's still here.
If you think he'll beat me, that's fine. If you think I'll beat him, that's cool. I like to know you lot.
Get back on. Vinny, get back on. There we go. Go on. He's putting it on you, Josh. What are you saying?
What, is this recorded?
Yeah,
It's live.
Say what you gotta say, man, because you know what it is. Reporters, you ask us the questions all the time. It's interesting to see what you lot think. Don't say it in the office behind the coffee. Just say it. I won't take offense. I ain't bothered. I'm in the ring. I gotta do what I gotta do.
Well, first of all, I'd like to ask Eamon who Eamon thinks is going to win.
He's putting the responsibility on to me. I think Shaq is the favorite in the fight. Yeah. So by proxy, I'd say that Shaq will win. It's Shaq's to lose.
He's clever though, you know. He's just said what's the book is at.
No. Well, I don't bet. So I don't look at the bookies. So
Yeah.
I genuinely, I wouldn't know what the odds were. But I would say that you were the favorite of the fight, and it'd be yours to lose for sure. That's not to say Brad can't win. But I see more routes to victory for yourself than for Brad. Josh, you're not getting off the hub. You could go the contrarian and say Brad now. We could split the panel here.
No, when I think about the fight, when I run through it in my mind and think how it's going to go, we've not seen Brad in as tough a fight since that Tyler Denny defeat, where he did struggle. Okay, he was maybe at a weight where he probably shouldn't have been making that type of weight anymore. But I think at this level, I think experience is going to come in a big part. And obviously, someone like Shakan, he's been at a higher level than what Brad has, and I just think it'll be a tough competitive fight, but I think Shakan just edges it on points. But I'm not completely writing Brad off in this either. I do think I was speaking to Izzy Asif the other day, and I said when I look through the fights that he's put on with GBM, I do think this is up there. It's probably one of the biggest 50-50 fights he has put on. So I do genuinely, I'm not just saying this because Shakan said, I would stand on this and say I've been struggling to pick a winner. But right now, I think I'd go towards a Shakan Pitters points win.
Generally, no one in our camp is overlooked Brad. He's a good fighter. He's a young, hungry, good fighter. I gotta be on my game. I've also trained very hard. Like I'd always train hard for any fighter because it just takes one banana skin. Brad's a solid fighter with a good record. You know, we've been pro, I believe, Black Nail off the same time. So, you know, I've gave all dues, you know, all due respect to this camp. With every camp I have, trained very hard, man. I put my work in, so I'm looking forward to a good fight. And like I said, he don't seem like a bad person. I ain't here to badmouth the guy. You know, we're both fighting each other, and that's just that. I've got my reasons, he's got his reasons, and that's just that, man. We make a good show on June the 28th, and we get it on.
Would you call him a fully fledged light heavyweight?
I genuinely don't know until I'm in there. With him, obviously, he's had many fights at. Was it super middle? Was it super middle? Was that with Tyler?
He was at middle. I think it was at middle. Yeah, it was at 160, I believe.
It's a bit of a jump, man. But at the end of the day, only him and his team know what's right. You know, I'm not here to assess whether he's right for what weight or not. You know, I've obviously the bigger guy. I'm fast. I'm rangy. I've got a lot more arse into my game though. But he's gonna also have his think what they feel like they can exploit, whatnot, in it. But I don't like I said. He's had a loss. Tyler Denny, decent fighter. You know, he's gone to win a European champion as well, to win the European title himself. So, yeah, makes sense for a good fight.
Absolutely. Well, Shakan, do really appreciate your time. Now that you've got the predictions out of us, we do look forward, and I'll see you there in Hull next Saturday. Good time.
It's like, look, in your next interview now, it's gonna be like, fuck off. You said Shaq's gonna win this.
You bullied him into it.
Great God. No, Shakan, really
Nice one.
appreciate
Hey
that.
lads, take care, man. Have a good day. All right.
Good, thank you.
Good man.
Cool, man. Cool.